So if you have a large fleet of vehicles, big trucks, and you're hauling material across the state, or you're hauling it across, interstate travel as well, you know that your program is quite evident that you're going to have to get into the DOT regulations. You're going to have the vehicles are going to have to be licensed or have a DOT number to them. Your commercial driver's license, your workers are going to have those. They're now going to have to pass physicals to get to that particular point as well. They're only going to be able to travel a certain number of hours. They have to log those hours in, but then they have to take periods of breaks so that they're not driving while tired. You're going to have to show that you're doing vehicle inspections and that you're doing regular maintenance on those vehicles. You're going to have accident reporting and record keeping. So there's a lot of things that are going to go into this if you fall under the DOT regulations, that you want to get into those regulations, because there are pretty complex when you start talking about it. But some of the additional issues that you want to talk about when you have somebody sitting behind the wheel for a long period of time, we know that studies now show that anytime you sit for more than 8 hours in a day, it's having an adverse effect on your health. And so you think about the ergonomics of putting someone behind a big truck and they're driving for long periods of time, that's going to have an effect on them. I had one guy that told me he does some kind of calisthenics while driving. I just don't think that's a good idea, but I mean, he's trying to address the ergonomic issue, I guess. How about securing the loads? On this side of the state, I think you guys are very familiar with the fact that we have lots of logging trucks and things like that, but anytime you have to put a load on the back of a truck or on a trailer, you're going to have those loads secured. And I think that we end up with a lot of injuries securing those loads. People are working on elevated surfaces. Again, there's more of a chance for slip and fall. There's all kinds of things that can happen during that securing of the loads, okay? We also have dock safety problems, because again, that's kind of unloading the truck. If you think about it, you got people that are using forklifts and pallet jacks and those kind of things. There's a lot of activity that you have in a dock area. This is another place where you find a lot of injuries happening, and so you want to take a look at that. How about that three-point contact? How do you see people getting out of those vehicles? Open up the door and yeah, Geronimo, they jump out of the truck like it's, like they have a parachute or something attached, right? I think of it as the old John Wayne stuff, you just pop out of the vehicle and you land. But the problem is you got the landing surface, depending on how bad that is. Now when you behind the wheel, they're paying attention to the road. How many people actually pay attention to those conditions that you now park your vehicle in? When you get out at a town pump, or you get out at any kind of a service station or the gas station, and you get out, those parking lots are not maintained in the best condition. So you jump out of the vehicle, and I think I've mentioned this to you guys before, the older I've gotten, the less I bounce. I don't bounce as well as I once did. That you get out, and it puts a lot of pressure. Even if it's young guys and they're getting out and they're jumping out, there's chances for sprained ankles and things like that. So we want people to use that three-point contact, kind of like on a ladder. We want them to have, 3 points of contact at all times while they're entering and exiting the vehicle. Okay. So all those things kind of go into play if you have a large set of vehicles. Sorry, no, that's all right. A little too close. I'll scoot over here. All right. Even with a small fleet of vehicle, you have some kind of exposure, don't you? If you're out there and you guys deliver furniture, or you're a plumbing outfit, or you have your electrical contractor and you have your own vehicles, do you not have an exposure? You may not fit into that definition for falling under the DOT regulations, but you definitely have exposures, do you not? And I think that that's the thing that you want to also address, is that, hey, we do have some issues here, and we do need to pay attention to things, okay? Whoops. So one of the things I have is a lot of people say, well, we don't have a fleet of vehicles. Our company, our organization doesn't own any vehicle. Okay, well then maybe you have what they call a hidden fleet. And that hidden fleet is actually, you have people using their own vehicles to do company business. It might be a home health care personnel visiting their clients. That would be considered company time, okay? Maintenance picking up parts at the parts store, or going on some kind of a company trip, anything that you can think of that people are using their personal vehicle for, even to pick up the mail. That all fits into being an occupational exposure. And so if you're thinking about that, you really have to factor that in. Now, what is the one thing here that you don't have control over, though? Say again?
The other people.
Well, yeah, you never have control over the other people, but what do not have control over with your employees, as far as that you would know? If you had a fleet of vehicles, you would have more control. But when it's in a hidden fleet situation, exactly, they have their own vehicles. I told you I drive a 92 beater, right? The Toyota Camry that I have. It's an old vehicle, but it's a good little vehicle. But at the same time, I have to tell you, there are a few things that need to be repaired on it, but it's a few things that I'm willing to live with, I suppose. Okay, so if I'm doing business with that vehicle, that now puts you guys, puts my company at risk because of the exposure that they have. Okay, so keep in mind, you have more than just what you think of some exposure. Okay.